You are now listening to the smooth sounds of Love Atiya. Ciao, beautiful souls. My name's Atiya, and I am your future bestie in your head. I am a sex-positive animal activist. I grew up in Queens, New York, and was homeschooled/unschooled for about 12 years. I was a virgin until I was 24 and attempted to have a hoe phase for 2 years, which eventually led me to being accidentally/intentionally celibate. And here we are today. My past left me with a lot of wild stories, a lot of lessons, and a hell of a lot of trauma. Thank God for my wicked sense of humor, because God only knows I would have perished by now. With that being said, this is your gentle reminder that the Love Atiya Experience was created as a safe space for me to reflect and share the lessons that I've learned from past traumas. Shit gets real on this podcast, and topics such as domestic violence, sexual assault, substance abuse, depression, anxiety, and suicide may be referenced. If you are working through feeling triggered by certain topics, this may not be the show for you right now, and that's okay. Healing takes time and isn't linear. I'll be here when you're ready. Now, without further ado, the Love Atiya Experience is an experience. So get ready for laughs, crazy story times, and life-changing pleasure tips here on the Love Atiya Experience podcast. Hey, beautiful souls. Guess who's back on video? Us, at least for this episode. Welcome to the Love Atiya Experience, the Masturbation May edition. This is our third and final installation of our Masturbation May edition. I am so thrilled for what I have to present to you today. Okay, story time before I just dive in. So, do y'all remember in October of 2023? So let's remember, I moved abroad April of 2023. In October of 2023, I posted a casting call on my Instagram, and I said, calling all pleasure positive people, can you please apply for this project that I'm doing, a video project, if you would like to talk about pleasure and feel comfortable about talking about pleasure online. I had a lot of submissions. I was very grateful. I sent out all of these confirmations. I want to say I had at least like 25 submissions, which now that I think about it, I don't know, I was coming from a deep place of gratitude. And I'm like, I don't care how many followers I have online. I'm grateful for these 25 people who felt comfortable enough. And half of the people that applied, I didn't even know them personally. So I thought that was really amazing. Unfortunately, more than half of those people either never replied or were going through something personal or were just really just navigating through their own journeys. So they were not able to participate, which is 100% okay. Everybody gets to change their consent. That is a big thing in the world of sex positivity. You can change your mind. So I ended up, I think, having 11 people included in this project. And I was so thrilled. Now, I posted the casting call in October, and the submissions needed to be completed by November. Y'all, why? Like, I want to say around the date that I asked for the final submissions to be completed, I literally didn't have Wi-Fi from that day to 3 weeks later. I lived in my home abroad. I remember I lived abroad. I had moved abroad in April. I lived in my home abroad for 3 weeks. I literally went to, it was so bad that I had to go into the place that provided my internet and just stand there until they helped me and like told me they were sending a tech out that day. And then the tech came out that day. No, it was the craziest thing. So yeah, I think that definitely put a big pause on the momentum of my project. And then there were a couple of other things that happened. Some people wanted to re-record their things, and that was totally okay. Like I said, the Wi-Fi thing. Somebody changed their entire career path and was like, I can't have anything to do with sex. Please take me out of it. And that happened a year and a half after the thing was supposed to even be done. So it was just a lot. And then my own personal stuff, right? I was going through my own depression. I was going through my own anxiety. But I can't lie, the thing that jacked me up the most was not having Wi-Fi for those 3 weeks. I was literally on a roll with everything. And so to not physically have Wi-Fi to be able to do my work was killing me. So then I finally have all of the submissions. Like I said, a year passed, somebody needs to be taken out. Great, good thing I never posted it. I guess it all worked out, right? And then I just started trying to be too perfect with it, to be honest with you. I have an aunt. I'd like to give her a shout out. I don't know. I think she's pretty low key, so I don't know if she wants her whole name out there, but shout out to my aunt who has the quote and the saying, peace, not perfection. I believe it isn't even a brand of theirs, but that quote has actually helped me get through this project, because I am so thankful for all of the footage I have. Right now, I wasn't able to use everybody's footage. Everybody who submitted, they may not see themselves in this project. Usually there was music playing in the background, or the quality of the video was just hard to understand, like audibly. But otherwise, this is still, even if your video didn't make it in to this project in particular, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone for your patience who participated in it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your transparency. Again, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your thoughts. So many people, I did not include anything in this that didn't feel real, raw, and authentic. Everybody really came with some knowledge, with some education, with their true, genuine experiences, with their vulnerability and their authenticity, and that's all I could have asked for. So I'm so thankful. I've learned a lot. A couple of things had to be adjusted. Some videos were recorded horizontally when they were asked to be recorded vertically. It's okay, we figured these things out, but I think that back in the day, I used to be such a stickler for these things. That's why that's actually not why my second web series didn't come out. That is not why at all. But yeah, I think that I'm definitely just working on this dream that I've had to create. And I've always wanted to create projects. I've always wanted to create films and series, but I think that my perfection is one of those things that has definitely held me back. So thanks to everybody who has participated in this again. Thank you for your grace. I love you. I'm so excited for y'all to watch, and stay tuned. I'm going to do more of these. I'm going to be on it, but first I needed to get all of the projects that I've ever worked on out first before I start anything fucking new. So thank you. I love you. And without further ado, please enjoy Project Pleasure. In 2023, I asked 11 beautiful souls from around the globe to share with me their personal experiences, opinions, and thoughts with self-pleasure, sex, and pleasure as a whole. With questions like,
do you orgasm or reach a climax every time you have sex?
How old were you when you first had an orgasm with a partner?
Can I tell if a woman is faking an orgasm?
My goal is to help you figure out how to enhance the pleasure in your life. But first, let's reflect. Welcome to Project Pleasure. If I had to describe what an orgasm felt like, then I would say that it's like the feeling that you get with butterflies in your stomach, but more so in your lower region. And it's like, whoa, what's this like fluttery feeling that I'm getting down there? And then it feels really euphoric, and then eventually you just feel like the clenching or the contractions of your muscles. That'd probably be the best way I can describe it physically. And then like experientially, just like euphoric, whatever you think that euphoria feels like, or like whatever you feel like being ecstatic feels like, feeling ecstasy, like it's that feeling. It feels like you see the sun. I remember one time I literally felt like I saw God. Like I closed my eyes and I felt like I was looking directly into the sun and saw God. Like that's how an orgasm felt for me.
An orgasm to me feels like my soul is levitating and coming out of my skin, and like, you know, like in the movies when they're like, that's what an orgasm feels like to me. It just feels crazy. It's an out-of-body experience. Like, it's crazy. Like literally shaking, like literally soul sucking. If someone could say soul snatching, that's what an orgasm is. Like crazy.
Hello, my name is Keisha, and I'm here to talk about my orgasm journey. So for me, an orgasm really just feels like my body is on fire everywhere. It starts from the roots of my hair to the tip of my toes, and my whole body just feels like it's heating up. It's on fire, just total vibration, and I love the feeling. It is the best feeling in the world, hands down.
So an orgasm feels like, okay, so you know when like you first get home and you like take your bra off and it's like that feeling where it's just like, oh, it feels like that with like some glitter mixed on top. Or like, you know, when you're eating like your favorite food and you like bite into it and you do that little dance, you're like, that's what like an orgasm feels like to me. Like, it's just such a yummy release that's all tingly all over your body. But there's different type of orgasms too, because you can have like a big O where you're just like, oh my God, and you need sleep and water and all this afterwards, or there's like those little O's, and it's like, oh, that was nice. It's like a little sweat off. But yeah, or sometimes there's no O, but any O, we love all the O's.
Hey everybody, it's Cam. For me, it feels like opening. It feels like several pools of water are swirling around, running and just drowning and being embraced in the best way. In my brain, it feels like several explosions are going off at once, and kind of like a smile. I can't help it. Just
So for me, an orgasm feels like just the average built up like euphoria that I feel, especially as someone who's non-binary. Growing up as a biological woman, it was very awkward to orgasm because like when you compare it to porn, it's not anything like special. But I had to realize that when I orgasm, it's just like the release of stress and everything. So if it's not special to other people, then it's special to me. So
Hello, Internet Nation. Alexander here. Don't make fun of me, but it's been so long that I don't remember. I have a hard time having orgasms because I want to say dominantly because I'm asexual and don't really connect to penetration like that. Like a lot of the times it doesn't really do it for me. So if that's what we're doing, I'm not really gonna get anywhere unless I'm in the certain headspace for that. But the times in which I have had an orgasm are mostly focused on absolute release, in which I completely leave my body, completely leave my brain, and just entirely, I don't know, it's just like a moment of entire release. Like my goal is to just cease to exist for a period of time. And oftentimes to build up to the orgasm, I have to like mentally release because of how traumatic sex is for me, I guess you could say. I don't know, so I guess typically like an entire shutdown of the system, because I don't know, every orgasm I've ever had that ever felt significant was accompanied by squirting, which is how I know that I have achieved an orgasm, because that is my body explicitly telling me that it has happened. Otherwise, it's just like a continuous buildup of, am I there? Am I almost there? I think so. Kind of, sort of, but not really.
An orgasm feels like a release in tension. So the best example I could give is like when you go to the grocery store and you bought a lot of stuff and you bought a little bit too much. So when you swipe your card, that feeling, that pressure of like, is my card gonna decline? And then when it actually goes through and you like, that's how orgasm feels.
Hello there, name's Fred. One of the best ways I can put it is that it feels like a rising pressure within your body. You start to kind of stiffen up. Your toes kind of start curling. You get like this rush. I don't know if I want to call it ecstasy or whatever the case is, but you feel something kind of that just builds up from the build-up. It's something that is quick. It lasts for maybe a minute or so, but it's a nice feeling. So that's probably what an orgasm feels for me like. It's like toe curling, spine straightening. It's very, very thorough, very carnal, I guess.
I would say it's like a great release, right? As you're about to feel the orgasm coming, there's a buildup of pressure that you feel. And then when you achieve orgasm, it's like all getting released at once. And that's a really good feeling.
Well, for me, it totally depends. And it can be contributed to several factors like my diet, what I have been eating or what I've been eating that day, my stress level before having sex, whether I have been taking Viagra or whether I need to take Viagra, if I've been exercising, how well hydrated I am. And guys, I want to say this, okay? Hydration is very important when it comes to sex and an orgasm, okay? Both the orgasm itself and the volume of semen that can come out which can play a role. Basically, I've had some good orgasms. To be honest, I've had some good orgasms, and I've had some not so good orgasms. The great ones feel like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a great outburst of positive energy, and it actually makes me feel a little bit closer to the woman I'm having sex with. Now, I've had some bad orgasms for several different reasons. Um, some of them have maybe because of time constraints. I kind of feel the need, I need to hurry up for certain reason, or I need to de-stress myself before I do a very stressful task, and I've kind of forced it out.
When I first had my first solo orgasm, I would probably say I was in either at the end of, I would say beginning of college, if that. Because I know I had my first one with a sex toy, and I didn't get my first sex toy until college. Like, I might have been humping pillows and fell out, but solo, I didn't know about that life until I was a grown-ass woman in college. That is embarrassing.
I was 13 years old when I had my first orgasm, from what I know, from what I can remember, because I used to think that orgasms were actually when you just got wet. Like, I thought that being wet was the orgasm. And so when I finally realized that if I just stimulated myself a little bit more, I'd feel those contractions of the orgasm. Like, I'd feel like once I had an orgasm, I was like, oh, this is what it was. Like, it was undeniable exactly what it was. And it's almost like with smoking weed, like it's never like that first time, and that's exactly how it was. I can never get that same exact feeling back as to when I was 13 and had my first orgasm.
All right, so I'm 20, so my first orgasm was, I think, 15, but I haven't had that many since then, because I wasn't taught to pleasure myself. So in actuality, it's probably 17 when I truly had something that an orgasm that I was proud of.
How old was I when I first bopped to the top? I was about 14. I would say I was about 14. When I first had experiences like that, I felt ready, and I had no interest in having somebody else around me if I did not yet know my own body or appreciate it first. So I felt very curious, and I was super invested in keeping my own integrity about my own sense of pleasure and self, and exploring things for me, and I wanted to be independent.
So I had my first solo orgasm when I was really, really young. I was still in grade school, still in elementary school around the time. Had to be whatever age when you're in maybe second or third grade around that time. I remember how it was from my stuffed animals. So the stuffed animals, I had a whole bunch of stuffed animals on my bed. Just a whole smorgasbord of stuffed animals on my bed, and pillows and all that stuff. And when I would go to make up my bed and all that stuff, and I'm putting all the stuffed animals up, lining them up, sometimes I'm leaning over them and crouching over them, or hopping over them. So it's sometimes my lower region would grind against their heads, or their little noses. They had these plush noses, but their noses would always be this hard little button, or this hard little thing, but everything else around them was soft. So one time I remember I had scooted past one, and it was their nose, and I was wait, I like that. And I would do it again and again, and I would take it and I would just go down there and just, next thing you know, didn't realize at the time that's what I was doing, but with the knowledge I know now, that's when I first figured it out. And then as I got older, started touching it more down there, trying other different things down there, hands, side of the bed, sides of couches, anything to create the friction down there. I was exploring.
My first solo orgasm definitely was when I was about 22 years old. I was still a virgin at the time, and I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. My best friend at the time was working at a sex shop, and she gave me my first sex toy at 22 years old. I had my first sex toy. I was very, very embarrassed because I wasn't so sure about my body at the time. But I was very embarrassed. I was very shy, but I tried it anyways. And I didn't really know what to look for or what to hit. Even though I did do some research, I was still unsure about what I was doing. But after some trial and error, I definitely finally figured it out, and it was the best feeling in the world. I loved it. Like I said, it felt like fire all over my body. And when I had that first orgasm solo, I just continued to do it over and over and over again. And I can say, like, I think for me, I love the solo play because it makes me feel confident. Because like I said, I'm a very shy person sexually. So I feel so confident when I know that I can make myself feel really good. And in turn, it helps me better communicate to my partner about what I want and what I like, and how to best please me. So definitely 22 years old when I had my first orgasm, and it was mind blowing.
I don't know. I don't know if that's even been a thing up until like 17, 18, where I was old enough to buy a vibrator and or dated a guy that bought me a vibrator, and then thanks to the sheer power of vibration forcing you to have an orgasm if you can withstand holding there. So probably around 15, 16, 17, sometime around then, 16, 15, you know, with the help of good old vibrations. Otherwise, I know for a fact that what I was doing when I was younger than that was not doing it because, for one, I do not have a shame kink, I wanted to say, but realized that may have also been a lie. But thinking about shame and how shameful the act of anything sexual is that, like, I was doing as a kid, was probably preventing me from having an orgasm. Also, I didn't really have anything that to help me have an orgasm.
So, because I've never experienced it via insertion and only really clitorally, I believe my first one was around the age of 11, where I got to experiment with the faucet in the bathroom. I don't remember how exactly I got into that situation, where I'm just laid out and having the water run over me, which I thought was a new experience for just me. Internet is a lie. Everyone knows everything and everyone has done everything. And yeah, 11.
I was young. I was a young and very curious individual. I was exposed to porn at a very young age because back when I was growing up, we had hacked cable, so to speak, where all the channels were open and you could see things we passed by. So I knew about porn for a long time. But when I first had my own orgasm, I'd say maybe 9, 10, when I was home alone. And curiosity got the best out of me, and it was probably one of the most extreme feelings I ever had. It actually got me scared towards the end of it, but it was intense, and it's kind of hard to say. Nothing's ever quite gotten to the first time like that for me.
When I had my first solo orgasm, I think I was in 8th or 9th grade. It was around middle school to just getting into high school. So whatever age that was. But that was when I had my first.
Actually, guys, I'm kind of opposite, from most men. Most men have, masturbated first and then they've had sex. Well, for me, I had my first sexual experience, I think it was a couple of weeks before my 15th birthday. And my first solo orgasm was when I was about 22, I think. And kind of embarrassed to say, I think it was when I was in basic training or AIT in the military. And you guys know they're very strict about separating the men from the women. So a lot of us could see the women, but we couldn't do anything about it. So we would have to go into the bathroom stalls and do something about it.
I think I am going to say 13 on that one. I had been experimenting with self-pleasure a little bit before that when I was a kid, like 12, during puberty is when I started. But I don't think I achieved climax until I was about 13.
Do you orgasm or reach a climax every time you have sex? Every time? Fuck no. Do you know how hard I gotta fucking work to have an orgasm? Do you know all the bullshit that goes through my mind when I masturbate alone just to I wish I had it as simple as just to rub one out and be done with it. No, I have to have a whole scenario and foreplay with myself and set myself up in mental stimulation just to get there, And I'm pretty sure even every time I masturbate, the goal isn't necessarily to orgasm because, I don't know, that's a lot of work. Do you know how hard it is to hold a vibrator still when you're convulsing? I mean, probably. Anyway, certainly not every time, because I'm sex repulsed, and I am starting to believe that I don't really like vaginal penetration that much. I don't think it does it for me. But there are people that I like, and it's if we're having sex, I think I'm gonna get there because I like you, and you're having pleasure. I like that. That gets me off, so we can get somewhere. Anyway, it's been a long time since I've had sex. I am a sexual individual, but also celibacy, because nobody deserves me.
I absolutely don't orgasm every time that I have sex. Unfortunately, I really should and would love to. I deserve to, but I haven't. Because of so many different things, trauma, people pleasing, not knowing my own body at times, not having trust in my own body and in my own needs, lack of communication, the partner just not caring about my pleasure. All of that plays a factor, definitely.
I actually don't orgasm every time. I think most of the time it's just, I'm just a release and that's it. No fluids, no nothing. I just quick go because I'm always busy. But what helps the most for me is voices and voices and nipple play. Those top two things, I wouldn't even have to be touched, but those two things is really what gets me going. So yeah.
Do I achieve orgasm every time I have sex? Yes. And the thing that helps most with that is communication. So if you haven't orgasmed yet, it's important to tell your partner. If there's something that they're doing that's pulling you out of climaxing, or if there's something that you would like them to do that would help you come, you just communicate it. Just talk to them. And I find that that's the most helpful thing.
No. And this is mostly because for me to have an orgasm, I have to actually have a connection. I have to have something that's built up. I've tried having a one-night stand before, and that shit just did not work out for me. I was like, nah, I ain't feeling the chief. It wasn't there. For me to really have an orgasm with a partner, I have to really be acquainted with them. I have to know them. Because for me, a lot of times when it comes to sex, it's not so much of a physical attraction alone. I need to know the mental as well. I need to know what stimulates the mind, what causes your body to move a certain way, what I can do to make your body move a certain type of way, things like that. I like to learn people's bodies. So until I learn somebody's body, it's very hard for me to have an orgasm. But when I do, it's nice. But have every partner I've ever been with was capable for doing that? No.
I do not. With every encounter, a lot of the times, I don't even really try to focus or think about it. I've spent a decent amount of time feeling unsatisfied, not happy with my partners or encounters. Because it seems like I would spend so much time and energy in my own body doing what I can to work through them, to give them whatever they need for the moment to keep them there. And yet, that energy was never received. So continuous sex just to get to the finish line for them. Meanwhile, also being very spicy with me in regards to if I finished or not. No, I didn't. And it feels like a lot of those situations, you know, when you would like go see people and they're like, oh, well, I fucked so and so. No, I fucked you. I fucked you. You came. You got the hell out. And it's no longer a joined experience. You got what you wanted, you dipped off, and then you got upset because I didn't, which isn't really fair. So I don't orgasm each time during sex. But because I've never gotten the chance to experience that with another person, I don't really know precisely what it is that can keep that happening or that can start that happening. I know what doesn't help is not feeling connected to the person that I'm with, whether that's a relationship or just sexual. I kind of need something more than just a body that's with me, or a body that's above me, or a body that I'm above. You can fuck and thrust with all of your might and not get a single sound out of me because I don't feel connected to you. And I feel like that can be a big problem for anybody. But for me specifically, that's a really huge thing. So what I feel like can help or get me closer is making that solid connection with somebody. Touching on them, feeling on them, having them feel on me, touch on me, breathe me in, and vice versa. It's a wonderful exchange of energies between you and your partners.
Do I orgasm and reach a climate every single time? A climax. Not climate change. No. And sometimes it's just because I'm tired. And I'll be like, yo, I'm tapping out, bro. I got work in the morning. Or I'd be like, yo, bro, it's 2 a.m. I gotta chill. Like, that's the same scenario. Or I'm just tired. Like, yo, I've been bouncing on this mug for 24 minutes. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, though. Do what helps me or what doesn't help me? What helps me is I'm a sensational person. I like a little whisper in the ear. I like a little touchy-feely. Touch me in the places that you're not already touching me with your soul, baby. What doesn't help? If my shit be dry, if it's dry, lube helps. Don't be scared to use lube. This coochie is not always on its wettest day. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. So yeah, that's what helps me.
Yes, about 97% of the time I am happy and complete. The only thing that I don't really enjoy too much is quickies or any kind of rush situation where the setting might not be. Movie and TV sex is just not most of the time how it's going down. So I think people generally benefit whenever you can, if my joints start popping in the middle when you're moving me around and stuff and you can't giggle at that, why are you here? So for me, it's a really big deal whenever I can smile and laugh and it's not taken like something super duper serious and we're trying to act a certain way. And including acting, I need to be able to trust you. I need to be able to trust and vice versa, have my partner trust me so that we can try new things. If I or they think of something in the moment that they want to do, or if they bring something up to me prior to meeting or whenever, and they're like, I'm really interested in this, do you consent to going about it today? And like maybe seeing how it goes down, or even just keeping each other safe when it comes to each other's health and hygiene and how we go about stuff. I find it so much easier to release and enjoy and reach those levels of pleasure with a person that clearly makes it a priority to wear protection, to get tested, to check on me and make sure that I feel okay, and we have that kind of accountability with one another. That's super important, and that brings me to like partnership. I don't think that you have to be in a committed exclusive relationship of any kind to be in a decent partnership with somebody that you're having sex with. I think that any sex that you have with another individual or individuals should be partnership in that you have a sense of understanding of what each of you want to have out of the experience. If you want to just get off and just loving for love's sake, if that's what you're into, or if you want to get closer specifically to that person, build bonds, build trust, transfer those, like if you intentionally want certain things, you need to know. And I think it's really beneficial to know and understand what it is that you're getting at when you're getting it on. And a lot of people don't talk about that. And I feel like we would all have a greater time if we just knew, understood, respected each other. And it's all about agreeing to help each other achieve their best experiences, not necessarily reaching a big O or scoring a goal or something. So to me, that's what's key.
No, I do not orgasm every time I have sex. I don't. It doesn't, and that's okay. That's something I've been okay with, honey. I love the journey of it. It's not the point to orgasm or nut each time. That's not the point. The point is the journey. I really do love exploring. I love exploring my partner. I love exploring myself. I love the journey of it. I love the whole aspect of the foreplay, to the excitement of the arousal and the bringing down and the aftercare. Like, to me, I just like the whole experience of it. The result and the outcome, it doesn't have to be an orgasm, but as long as everyone leaves happy and satisfied and feeling pleasured and yummied and full on the inside, that's what I plan on. That's what I like. That's how I feel like a successful je ne sais quoi, or a successful little session should be like.
Honestly, no. And the times where I haven't orgasm by having sex, it's usually contributed to certain factors, like if I can tell the woman is uncomfortable, um, the let's just say like this, if I expected her vagina to be very tight or firm and it wasn't what I expected, that can contribute to it. If she's rushing me, like I said, if she doesn't feel like she's enjoying it, because the way I feel sex should be a consensual act between two people who are really enjoying that. And to me, if the woman is not enjoying it, then it doesn't feel consensual to me, so to speak.
I don't always have an orgasm when I have sex. I could, but sometimes I truly just prioritize a woman having it. So I don't even like trip, because that in itself already feels like a lot and feels great to me.
Unfortunately, no, I don't reach climax every single time I have sex. It is not a thing for me every single time. But when I do climax, it's amazing. But I notice with myself, I need to do foreplay in order for me to reach climax. That's important to me. Foreplay, hands down, what I need in order for us to become intimate, in order for us to be like one with each other. Because for me, everything stems from my mind. Like, my mind is where everything is, and if I'm uncomfortable, I'm gonna be just uncomfortable the whole entire time. So for me, I learned that foreplay helps me stimulate and get the juices going. So I love that feeling about myself, and I love that feeling that I get to have and share with my partner. So
Can I tell if a woman is faking an orgasm? I think so. For the most part, obviously there's degrees at like how good you are at faking or not. But typically there are things you can't fake. Or I wouldn't say can't fake, but are a little bit harder to fake. Um, the 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 pulsating, the quivering, um, the creaming, the squirting, that sort of thing. Those sort of signifiers are a bit harder to fake, you know. So um, I'm gonna say you can tell. You can tell if you're paying close enough attention.
I can't directly tell if a woman had an orgasm, but I can indirectly. I feel as if sex is not something you have, it's something you give. And when you prioritize a woman and being able to allow her to have her orgasm, then her actions and behavior will show when she has an orgasm, because usually she will reciprocate that same energy to you. So in those instances, for sure, I think I'm able to tell when a woman has an orgasm.
How can you tell when a woman is faking an orgasm? Well, I'm going to start off by saying how I believe I make a woman orgasm, or I can tell if a woman is orgasm. And it's usually two different ways. Usually, when I either go down on her or she gets on top. There are certain times when I've made her orgasm by me getting on top, but those two are the main ones. And usually, I can tell because let's just say I'm going down on her and her thighs start to tighten up, and she goes from being vocal to using very, how can I say it? The her panting type voices, I guess, like, oh, right there, right there, right there. And it's very quick, you know what I'm saying? And I can feel her clitoris getting warmer and warmer, and then it starts to get very wet. And then she kind of locks up her body and pushes her head and makes sure it doesn't move or whatever. And then her whole body just starts to relax. Kind of the same thing when she's on top, where she's going faster and faster and faster, and she starts to get wetter and wetter, and then she stops all of a sudden, and then she kind of lays on my chest, and usually she's like, well, did you get yours yet? Something like that.
Have I ever orgasmed from solely penetration with a partner? No. But I will say I've done some penetration with a little bit of help. The help works. Like a little bit of rub while a little bit of if you know what I'm saying. Like a little two for two, Wiki, wiki, wiki. So I don't know if that counts. So let's say yes. Actually, let's say no. Don't give credit where it's not due.
Like I stated previously, I don't orgasm from penetration because there's just a lot of things associated with penetration that I just don't like. It's also a very traumatic experience for just penetrative sex. But I do get orgasms from clit stimulation, which is the only way I orgasm. And I think that's just a preferable method. Now, I've never had them together. I mean, when I masturbate, I do, but as with a partner or somebody else, I just usually get penetration or clit stimulation. But I know both. I know both does the trick.
Solely from penetration? Absolutely not. No. The one sole time that I had a penetrative orgasm, mind you, I've had sex multiple times, but the one orgasm that I had was actually not even due to the penetration. I think that was just the cherry on top. What it was due to was the fact that we had been intimate prior. We had even before we made out, we were having deep conversations. We talked for 2 hours before we had sex, and then we made out. And I'm not talking about regular making out. It was intimate making out. The eye gazing was so intense. We had talked about getting tested beforehand, so we got tested beforehand, so I felt physically safe. So I think that the physical safety, the mental safety with the conversation beforehand, the genuinely feel like he liked me and liked my body and cared about my pleasure, I think that all facilitates when I finally got on top and had the orgasm. I think that was just the gift, but I think that whole experience was actually really orgasmic for me. So technically, no, I haven't orgasmed solely from penetration. I needed my mind stimulated and my body stimulated prior.
Yes, because big dick will do it for you. Also, the first time I ever squirted was with a guy. We were doing some vaginal penetration with some clitoral stimulation on top of anal stimulation. And that really does it for me. I don't know who it wouldn't do it for, because I don't think you can get more stimulated than everything going at once, I was 19. But I want to say that it happened before. I am highly traumatized. Hello, shout out to everybody else watching right now that's highly traumatized. It does not matter if you are highly traumatized, find somebody that makes you feel safe and go from there, because sex can be fun, I hear. Don't let my trauma stop you. Anyway, I was at least 19, probably 15, 16, 17, because as I said, at one point I was dating somebody who took my pleasure very seriously and did everything in his power to make sure that I had an orgasm. And you shouldn't just lie to your partner and be like, yeah, I totally did, when you didn't. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was working his ass off for those. But
I've definitely orgasmed from penetration before as well. Not as often as I would like. But however, when I do have that penetration from my partner, when we're being intimate, it does really, really feel good. I do wish it was more often, but unfortunately it hasn't been more often. But that just goes to show that I need to be a little bit more vocal with what I want. As I said, I'm vocal now, but I still tend to be a little shy about like, hey, do this, do that. But definitely a really great experience for me, to be honest, the times that I've had, an orgasm from just penetration from my partner.
I've not. I'm waiting for the day without me giving clitoral or toy assistance, which isn't a problem, but I kind of want to experience what that might be like.
Recently, in my recent kind of escapades that I have had some times where I have orgasm during penetration, but it's not an every time thing for me. Like, it's kind of more of, I've noticed if my body's more relaxed, if my body's more comfortable with this partner, if my body's more kind of opened with this partner, I'm more susceptible to orgasming when penetration. But I notice when I'm kind of more tense, it doesn't really happen, and sometimes it's not the same orgasm that I experience when I'm experiencing it from clitoral type of stimulation. So it's a different type of kind of satisfaction feeling through penetration.
Have I ever orgasmed from penetration with my partner? Oh yeah. Yes. While my understanding is that very, very, very large majority of vulva owners are not capable of consistently being finished with penetration via their partner or even just solo. For me, I have found over the years that I orgasm mostly from penetration, I've done so majority of the times that I've engaged in partner stimulation, and yeah, we're a happy camper over here.
How old were you when you first had an orgasm with a partner? I'd say around, let's see, I was sexually active to like 17. I'd say around 19. Which sounds funny, but it's one of those things where I usually could keep on going on, and not many people could keep up with me in that moment. So around 19 years old was when I met somebody who was my match, so to speak. Interesting story on that one, but yeah, I'd say around 19 years old was the first time I had an actual orgasm where I came.
The first orgasm that I ever had with a partner was when I was 20. Oh, that is a hard one. Freak. Okay, so I remember I used to dry hump when I was a virgin, quote unquote virgin. And that was great. And I would get off on it. At that point, I knew what an orgasm was. My mom had bought me my first sex toy. I knew what an orgasm felt like, but I cannot remember for the life of me right now if I used to orgasm with that. So I'm not going to say that the dry humping gave me my first orgasm. Damn, I really don't want to give credit where credit is not due, so I'm not going to give the credit, but I will say that I think that I was 23 when I had my first orgasm. I remember there was a time where I saw God, and I was like, oh, and I saw myself going towards the sun, and I felt like that was my first orgasm. So I really should have thought about this before I said it, but I really want to say 23 years old with a partner. My first orgasm with a partner was 23, but it wasn't from penetration. It was actually from them using a vibrator on me. So let me know if that counts. If that doesn't count, then I would say I was 26. Damn! I need to have some more orgasms in my life.
When I had my first orgasm with a partner, I consider myself a late bloomer. So that was when I was a junior in college. So I was about 20.
I had my first orgasm with someone, I think 19 years old. It wasn't that long ago, to be honest, because I've never like expected a man or just like anybody else to know how to pleasure me, because usually at the end of the day, that's not their focus, especially with like a biological like cis man. It's not their focus to like pleasure you on top of them. So, you know, they either pick or choose, which I had no issue with. I really didn't care, because like the way they wanted to pleasure me was penetration, and I don't really like that. So at the end of the day, it just didn't matter. But I think the first time I had it was I think 19. It was in college.
Unfortunately, I've lived a very sad sexual experience life where I made believe I was hitting the completion point with people. And it seems like I didn't actually have a full-on orgasm with a partner until I was 29, give or take.
I had my first orgasm with a partner when I was 21, but I lost my virginity at 13. You do the math. And trust me, I was hunching during the whole time. I just wasn't coming. Just wasn't doing that. But I will say at 21, I started learning my body more. I started learning my bedroom boundaries more. I started learning how to speak up for myself in the bedroom and not be afraid to have those type of conversations in the bedroom. And honey, ever since that, we've been coming. It's been nice. It's been fun. So yeah.
To be honest, I didn't have an orgasm with my sexual partner until the third time that I had sex. I mean, I can go into details about it later, but, you know, I'll save those details for later. But it was actually the third time that I had sex.
I want to say 19. That's what I want to say, because that is the first time that it has significantly stuck out to me, where I was having sex with the person and went, oh my god, I just had an orgasm. Because I squirted for the first time, making it apparently obvious to my dumb ass that I had just had an orgasm. But also, I want to say, before that, I had started masturbating at a young age, but never really achieved any sense of climax because of the immense amount of shame associated with anything sexual from forever. Let's just say forever. So maybe around 16, 17, because I will say that then is when I started dating somebody that actually cared about my orgasms and like tried to help me achieve them and actually like did shit to try and reach that goal. So I will give him the benefit of the doubt. It was never any squirting involved in any of that for my body to be like, yes, we have achieved success. We are there, my dude. You know? But I want to say 16, 17, because he was putting in that work. I cannot necessarily remember what any of those orgasms feel like, because I am a very traumatized individual who has a very hard time with orgasms, specifically because being sex repulsed and asexual and needing, I think also demisexual, not a good combination of things if you're just trying to rub one out, you know?
I had my first orgasm with a partner in high school, and I didn't know what it was. See, I was with someone who I wasn't even supposed to be sleeping with. I was cheating. Let's be real. I was cheating. And with the dude, I was like, oh my gosh, like, move. I'm about to pee on my pants. I'm about to pee on myself. I'm about to pee on myself. Like, move. I need to go to the bathroom. And he was like, girl, what the fuck? And I was like, I have to pee. Like, I'm a human being. And so then I got up, went to the bathroom, and tried to sit on the toilet. And I was like, I don't have to pee. What's going on? So I sat there and I was like, pee. Like, I can't go back in there and not pee after I made all this, like, havoc. And so I go back in there and I'm like, fuck it. And I didn't go pee. And so he kept going in the same position. And I was like, oh my God. And then it happened. And I was like, what is this? Especially because I was cheating. And I was like, the man I'm supposed to be with has never made me do this before. Which was embarrassing for me and him, because it's not like I could have told him, like, yo, this is what someone else was doing, because they'd be like, yo, you're a cheater. Which he found out anyways eventually. But he was cheating on me too. He was cheating on me first, and I already knew that. That was why I was cheating. That's a whole nother story for another day, though.
Yay! And that concludes Project Pleasure. Oh my gosh. The biggest takeaway from this has been that everything is literally, absolutely perfect just as it is. Truly, everything is perfect just as it is. When people are being raw and authentic and themselves, that is the product. That is the final product. There's no need to add any extra razzle dazzle or graphics or whatever the hell that I originally had in my mind for this project. I learned that the more raw and authentic it was, the better. So I thank y'all so much, because this is something that I'm taking with me throughout my entire life. So whether it be in my personal world or in my business world. And speaking of business, if this inspired you to tap into your pleasure and you are inspired to learn more or enhance your sex life, enhance your pleasure, enhance your self-pleasure skills and ceremonies, hopefully the last 2 episodes for masturbation may have helped you in that, have helped you dismantle the shame. But I really hope that you can take away the questions from this project and really ponder on what your relationship with pleasure has been. Also, y'all know I have a pleasure shop. It is loveatiya.com. You can head to loveatiya.com and check out the Ethereal Pleasure Academy, where I have so many more tips. I have courses, I have workbooks coming soon, I have video courses coming soon. I have so many things in the lineup for y'all for the Ethereal Pleasure Academy. I also have a hair and skincare company if you'd like to enhance your self-care in that way. Don't forget, self-pleasure is self-care. They go hand in hand. So treat yourself to a toy, treat yourself to a clay mask, treat yourself to something, whether you just go diddle your skittle after this. I don't care what it is, but do something kind for yourself, okay? Thank you for watching. Thank you. I literally feel like I just birthed out my baby, and she's so beautiful. So I love you so much. Please give yourself a hug for me. And happy Masturbation May. Shout out to my loves Tim. Shout out to Sue. I love you guys so much. Thank you again for watching, and happy Masturbation May. Let's end this with a bang. Actually, for my patrons, I'm going to post a special coupon code for my patrons only for a sex toy for the month. So if you want a special coupon only for the day that I post that code, it's literally going to be for one day. I think I said for the month, but I mean like in honor of Masturbation May. Then go check out Patreon and you will see the code there. And I will give it to my free subscribers. I love y'all so much. I'm so thankful. I'm going to give something extra to my paid subscribers though. So I'm thinking maybe the free subscribers will get like 10% off, but the paid subscribers will get 20%, or maybe free subscribers will get 15% off, and we'll figure it out. But head to Patreon and we'll discuss it on there. Okay, I love you so much. Thank you for watching. And thank you again to every last beautiful soul and human being that participated in this project. I can't thank you enough. This literally could not have been done without you. So thank you. I love you.